Did you see what I did there? I didn't use the club to aim, I used the grip. And I'm going to show you why that's so important and how you can implement it. What happens a lot of the time, especially if you're struggling with a kind of over-the-top swing or thrusting the body at it a little bit, or really a lot of different swing faults, we start to subconsciously or consciously adapt to it. Meaning, you know that you might cut across the ball this way. And so you're trying to either fight it, meaning that you're going to aim further and further right. But all that's going to do is actually, because you're trying to think, well, I need to come swing from the inside and go into out. But what happens is you end up aiming, aligning further right. That's one problem, because all that happens is there, because you know your target is a bit more that way, you're actually training that over the top move. And likewise, the more you allow for it, you're going to start aiming further left and allowing and enhancing that sort of cut shot, slice, whatever. So your intention has to be confident, it has to be pretty neutral if you want to find more consistency. And one of the simplest things is to just think of your swing as a rail track, okay? We've got our target line and our body and feet are more or less parallel to it. I'm not gonna get you to worry about being absolutely precise to the millimeter. I just want you to start seeing shots more of a railroad effect. That's it. The next reason that you're aiming your clubs wrong are because of the different lofts on your irons. Let me show you. Let's imagine that this is our target line, okay? That's where we want the ball to start. We do want the club face to start pointing there. But what happens too frequently, especially if you've got some offset on some of your irons, or you're obviously using different clubs, what can happen is, with the way the clubs are made, the top edge, the back cavity, certain areas of the club can start presenting themselves in our line of sight. So what can happen is we get a little bit skew-whiff with where we're aiming. So it's not so much the leading edge that takes over in our eyes, it becomes a matter of this top edge. So this top edge, we start to look at that thinking, well, okay, that's where we're aiming correctly. That's square to my ball to target line. That's where I want to start it on. But in actuality, that club face is actually really quite hooded. And likewise, this is with a 4-iron, but it happens with other clubs too. Here's an 8-iron. If I look at the top edge instead of the leading edge, that's going to, if I try and get this square to my target, I'm going to be aiming a load left. And then I think, well, I know that, so I'm going to open it up. But because I'm trying to just open it up, the leading edge can often get too open, right? And the hands start leaning back and we start fidgeting and twisting the club this way. So what should we do? Instead of looking at the club face, I want you to start looking at your grip. Because the grip is always going to have some markings on it, whether it's the name, whether it's some little markings, some lines here, but there's also little markings on the actual grip itself, okay? And we can utilize these to get us aiming the right direction. Because where this goes, the club face goes. Where this goes, the club face goes. So all I need to try and do and visualize to get my aiming at that T-peg, which is my ball to target line, I'm trying to just square up the markings with that T-peg, with my intermediate point. And that is my neutral position. It is much more repeatable because I'm going to notice if it's way open because I can see the words have twisted. And likewise this way. Or if my hands are too far back, I'm leaning this way. Or if my hands are too far forward. This is a much better measure of our hand position and aiming than the club head. Before you go and put this into action, I need to give you one very important key. When you hold the club, you need to grip it with authority, with consistency. I'm not going to go into the specifics of a good grip, but I want to give you just one task. Every time you pick up the club, I want you to do this one thing for me. I want you to be very precise in your grip, meaning I want you to ensure that your hand is flat here, okay? And it's matching the club face, leading edge. That's a really nice little guide to try and have to find some reliability. But what I really want you to ensure that you do is As you take your grip, when you're looking behind the ball, I want you to form your grip, and I don't want it to move from here. Not just not fidget, I want you to keep the pressure in the fingers, in the palms, the heaviness of the club in my hands, the movement in my wrists. I want that to stay constant. From when I've got my target lined up, I've done my practice swings. And we're going to now, as we stand up behind the ball, I put my club down. My grip is not moving, it's not fidgeting. I'm keeping it in place. And I'm now just double checking that my grip is in the same area, okay? And then one look at the target and I pull the trigger. It's as easy as that. That's what I want your pre-shot routine to be. Pick your shot, couple of practice swings, form the grip. Choose your target, set up to the ball, make sure your grip is aligned. If it's not, I want you to just adjust slightly. I don't want you to shift your arms and body too much. Move it as one unit. I'm exaggerating here just so you can see, but I'm almost like mechanical about it. I can wiggle, I can waggle, I can move the club around, but my grip pressure is staying the same. My grip is not moving. And the more constant we can get with this, with the grip, the more constant your whole swing is going to be. That's it, my friends. Stop aiming with the club face. Aim with the grip and form your hold on the club as you approach the shots, and don't fidget, don't move it, because the slightest pressure changes, the slightest movement in fingers here has such an effect on where the club is going to go, how it's going to move. You're going to be looking in all the wrong places to fix your swing when it could be as simple as how you're holding the club. Because how we aim makes us adjust things subconsciously. We want simplicity. So do that and put it into action.